It's a terrible story, but it's one we've heard way too many times in Europe and unfortunately too many times in the United States as well. An asylum seeker, often a young man in his mid-20s, already known to police, rams a car into a crowd and shatters a community. How many times must we suffer these appalling setbacks before we change course and take our shared civilization in a new direction? No voter on this continent went to the ballot box to open the floodgates to millions of unvetted immigrants.
Don't allow this broken culture to send you a message that you're a bad person because you're a man, because you like to tell a joke, because you like to have a beer with your friends, or because you're competitive. It's our message, the cultural message, and I think the president's and mine is the exact opposite, but our cultural message is, I think that it wants to turn everybody, into, whether male or female, into androgynous idiots who think the same, talk the same, and act the same. We actually think God made male and female for a purpose, and we want you guys to thrive as young men and as young women, and we're going to help with our public policy to make it possible to do that.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Quiet Storm. He says, hey, I sent this clip too. Yes, you did, sir. I told you this show is brought to you courtesy of Saul, T-Balls, and International Quiet Storm. They sent me all this stuff and I put it together for the show. Oh, Lord Lovesmith, he says, push back. Oh, no, not that. He said, non-bang. That's what I was going to say, Tito. Yeah, the other big search is, non-extradition countries is open of the top 3 searches in Washington, D.C. Exactly, that one. That's what I was going to say. That's the other one, non-extradition countries. That's at the top of the search list, too. And if you look at Redfin and Zillow, with all the houses that are going up for sale in DC, it looks like somebody fucking blood all over the fucking map over there. Everybody's getting the hell out. This JD Vance clip, this is important because Manosphere talking points are mainstream, but basically, he basically made a open attack and refutation of the toxic masculinity trope, and that's been the mainstay of the manosphere proper and the black manosphere for the last X amount of years, and that codifies that they are listening to the concerns of black men and the of men in general, let's put that, and the arguments we've been making down here. And it also ties into why they were able to court the male vote, and that's really what's pushed them over the line with the win. But Tito, what say you to, we got the vice president basically, without saying it, but basically spouting manosphere lexicon language?
That Europe brought this on themselves. First of all, it's crazy to ponder the fact that you've had incidents of little black children going to school here in the United States in winter coats in Baltimore and other cities in the north, that you've had for generations now, for like, I think 3 or 4 generations now. You have vocational programs taken up out of schools where all type of Americans go because they said it wasn't enough money. And yet we all drive and bobble over potholes and ruin our suspension every day. And somehow Europe thought that in perpetuity, we were going to just live to fund them. I don't get this shit. But not only that, they want us to live to fund them and fight, in spite of the fact that they are now exhibiting a bunch of actions that directly go against what we fought World War II and what we have been serving as a deterrent based on anyway. Now they are exhibiting the same political behaviors of the people that Western Europe was made to be a physical rampart against. They are acting like the Soviets that we were supposed to be guarding against back in the 80s now. And so this isn't a surprise. But I was the only thing that surprised me was the verbiage of his speech. I mean, Trump had told us his last term that this is what he wanted to do, but the verbiage of his speech did surprise me. But like I said when I did a live about this, you can't try to play like this is just some online shit now. When you got the vice president at the Munich security conference basically saying some of the same things that we say. And this might serve to end up being a huge wedge issue for NATO, and they will continue. I think that as populist governments gain traction over there, that they will continue. Because people are still getting our content regardless of that. They getting VPNs and they still getting this shit. People are still gonna come get this. So the more that populist governments take hold there, you're going to see other countries disvalidate elections. You're probably going to see political unrest there. And then it's going to really call into question, like you said, what is it exactly we're defending?
Spot on. So we were having this conversation actually earlier today with basically our lexicon becoming mainstream. What say you to Vice President Vance becoming a mouthpiece for it, which is crazy?
This is very clear that we have a friend in the White House. Somehow, some way, the message has gotten out there, along with seeing the sort of brain trust they have with men, with Joe Rogan inviting content creators. I mean, this is a very, very blatant nod to our efforts, along with, getting Europe in line. And much to Tito's point, with them and their laws where they're crushing free speech, busting in people's doors, and even the stuff they did with Andrew Tate, we're trying to lie on them and stuff like that. I wouldn't be surprised if he's setting the sort of impetus so that Andrew Tate can actually be freed. And I'll land my plane there.
Well played, sir. Contractor, what say you of the vice president sounding like he listened to somebody's podcast down here and basically pushing back on the toxic masculinity propaganda and ongoing trope?
Well, to me personally, it's amazing that the fact that we have a VP that's actually spouting out these talking points, and he's making it look good. I think Brian Donaldson would have done a better job, but my personal thing. At the end of the day, the writing's on the wall, and it's all coming to an end. This thing that we all knew to be life is changing up, and at the end of the day, it's going to be a group of manly ass men out this bitch that ain't going for it. So I kind of think it's like the prep work. He's prepping everyone first, but they still don't quite want to hear it, because when you come with talking points this rigid, people, they don't always agree, and they kind of try to fight you a little bit. But he's a whole vice president. He doesn't have to be there. Not even close. Like he ain't got to be there, bro. He could be anywhere else in the world, but he's there, and he's speaking to him. So Vance, he put everything out there for the world to see, and at the end of the day, honestly, he made it sound good, bro. Straight up. But to speak to Tito's point, yes, Europe did assume that we would always take care of them, but that's coming to an end.
All right, excellent round, gentlemen. All right, final segment, guys.
Hold on. Want to piggyback real quick. I kind of want to reiterate the point that last year, around this time, we had a lot of people who claim themselves to be manosphere, but their talking points, their behaviors, their ideology was not reflective of that. And it seems